Hello and welcome back, everybody, but probably nobody. This is ThorW, and Thief's Second Awakenings are out! Yes! DFO's finally released it. I've been really trying to time the level up of the Shadow Dancer to about the time where I could just about hit Second Awakening with the timing of the Second Awakening release, because they said it would be in the update right after Shadow Dancer gets released. So I was really hoping that they would keep their promise, and they did, and it's available, and we'll be looking at that relatively soon. Here, if I go into skills, oh, there's some stuff down here. Oh no, there's new stuff that we've not seen before. We'll take a look at that as the time comes on. In the meantime, we've got some more questing to do, some more level ups to do, etc., etc. You guys know the drill. We're going to be running into whatever our scenario dungeons are and just killing it, as that's how we do. Because that's how you very, very quickly just level up. So yeah, that's nice. There are some new events, you know, there's like zombies that we're going to be feeding and stuff like that. There's a lot of, just a lot of new stuff for us to take a look at here in Dungeon Fighter, and we'll be doing that. And, yeah, excitement, basically. I'm starting off in a very good mood because of all this. I'm glad to see that they did keep their promise. Neapol's been pretty darn good about that. They haven't really broken promises yet, or at least not much. They've had a couple late releases, but not too much, and that's nice. That's nice. I really like to see that they're a company that that value telling the truth and following through with stuff. For anyone that may be wondering why I might be mentioning this in specific, it's because of recent stuff involving Riot Games and League of Legends. I'm really starting to get fed up with it, and it's becoming harder and harder to just enjoy the game. Basically, they had said that, oh yeah, solo queue, as they've been trying out a new thing called dynamic queue, which basically sucks dick if you're not playing with a bunch of people. If you're not playing with at least 2 people, then it sucks for you if you're a solo player. Anyway, they've been doing that, and they've completely replaced solo queue with it, and they said solo queue would be out after, like, basically a test run of this for a little while. And then with recent information that they're letting out, it seems like they're going to just completely and totally replace solo queue and scrap it and keep dynamic queue, which I hate, because I'm a solo queue person. I don't really want to queue with other people all that much. Sometimes I just don't want to. So yeah, I'm glad Neapol is you know, kind enough and nice enough to keep their promises and do stuff that they say they will. So, very nice. I'm glad that this is lined up the way that I had wanted it to. It gave me time to take small breaks, look up some builds about Shadow Dancer over time, and have an idea of just the basics of, like, how to, That's interesting. That didn't hit Furious Blah blah blah. Anyway, give me the basics of how to... Oh, that's... Let me through. Thank you. Give me the basics of how to play the Shadow Dancer and build it and all that stuff. So now I have a pretty good idea overall about what optimal builds there are and what optimal equipment there is available for her. So yeah, I've had time to do some research because of it, because of the release schedule, the way it was, and it released properly. No hiccups, no muss, no fuss. Everyone's happy. I'm happy. I'm super happy about this. One thing that people don't seem to be happy about, though, is the reviews are in for Batman vs. Superman. And, like I said, a long time ago, didn't look great, probably wouldn't be great knowing the track record for DC movies. And hey, according to reviews, it's not great. It's apparently a steaming pile, basically. Which, yeah, I mean, what did you expect? It's based off of DC's live-action movie track record, and based off of just the trailers and everything that they've shown, it didn't look great. And reviews say it's not great. And I'm morbidly interested in how not great it is. I'm sorry if you could hear that. That was a crinkle of my water bottle. But I'm very curious about how not great it is. Like, I don't think I'm curious enough to go watch it myself in a movie theater and pay money, but I'm curious enough to look at, like, long reviews that spoil everything. I mean, it's pretty much what was expected. Ooh. Oh, overpower balance. No. Oh, right. That must be why my skills are so strong right now. Yes, right now skills are buffed for the overpower balance event, which is nice. Very good. Oh yeah, I don't care about that. I gotta meet Siusha. She's so far away. Oh well, we'll have time to talk. So yeah, Batman versus Superman. It looked like, obviously, Batman and Superman fight wouldn't last for the whole movie. Probably not even as long as it should last. And then some other villain is going to come out and do something or other. And I'm willing to bet that that's exactly what happens. And it's probably not that. And according to reviews, it's not that great. So I always have this weird curiosity when something gets really hyped up, and then people say it's bad or terrible or even just a disappointment, even if it's like good but still just disappointing. I want to know. I want to experience it myself and feel the misery. So that's some pretty up-to-date stuff on that particular movie. I mean, yeah, they got a new Batman, like, Superman movies, live-action Superman movies have never really done all that well. So it seemed like a formula for disaster. Ben Affleck, Batfleck, all seemed like just a bad recipe, and apparently it was, which is good to know. So yeah, that's stuff that's going on in Hollywood. In some other news, there's been some leaked footage of I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but like early leaked footage of how Pokemon Go works, and it looked underwhelming. So for anyone that doesn't know, Pokemon Go is supposed to be like the infinite Pokemon playing app that you can get on your phone or something like that. And you catch Pokemon on the go and you find them, and they just show up in the real world and stuff, and it's supposed to be like a lot more like, hey, you're an actual Pokemon trainer now. Go around and catch your Pokemans. And that interests me because I like Pokemans. I'm a big fan of Pokemans. So, in like some original shots of it, it showed like, you know, a couple Pokemon battling and you go to catch it and stuff like that. It looked pretty decent. It looked pretty much what I would expect for a phone app for that kind of thing. And then like this footage came out where it's only like a minute long and stuff, but essentially the guy is like, I don't know, he's out in a yard of some sort. There's clearly grass and whatnot, and then a Pokemon battle starts. Like an Ivysaur pops up, or a Bulbasaur. I can't remember which one it was, but one of them pops up, and then he throws a Pokeball at it, and then he throws a Master Ball at it. That's the entirety of the footage, and I was like, huh? Wait, what? Wait, huh, what? Did you just... Was that it? Is that all it is? Now the good thing is at the end of it, there were stats for the Pokemon, like it had HP and stuff like that, so I think that was maybe just a proof of concept for the capturing system more than anything else. So hopefully, Pokemon Go will be more than just throwing Pokeballs at Pokemon. And apparently you have to aim the Pokeball. I actually kind of like that. Because if you ever watch the Pokemon anime or anything like that, you see like someone whip a Pokeball out like and throw it like across a mountain or across an entire field and nail a Pokemon perfectly. You gotta think that takes some pretty good aim. So yeah, I do like that idea behind it. The idea of hey, you have to actually aim the Pokeball when you throw it at the Pokemon. So that's good. Again, I'm really hoping that instead of just throwing Pokeballs at Pokemon every now and again, it's going to actually involve Poke battles and stuff, and that was just a proof of concept kind of thing. Because it could go either way. They could honestly make it the very lazy route of, hey, you're just throwing Pokeballs at Pokemon, and still call it an app, and sell it, and people will buy it, and people will play it, and stuff. They'll be disappointed, but they'll play it, and they'll buy it, and all that stuff. Like, that one's just a little questionable. We'll see what comes of it in the future when it comes out. Nintendo usually releases pretty darn good stuff, even on relatively small things. So I have to imagine that can't be it. I think it has to be a full game. Nintendo's got a good track record with this stuff. So we shall see. And I trust them. I trust Nintendo to put out fun games, and throwing Pokeballs at Pokemon as the only mechanic in a game doesn't seem fun. And speaking of Pokemon, I've been checking out Pokken Tournament, which is pretty cool. Like, it's pretty darn cool. It's not bad at all. It's a pretty decent fighting game overall. It has a couple of problems that I think, like, a competitive or tournament-themed fighting game would have issues with, but for what it is, it's really good. It's really darn decent with a pretty okay cast of Pokemon and stuff. And a lot of good fighting concepts. If you guys like fighting games at all, even if you're just a casual fan, you should probably check it out. It's not bad. Pokken Fighting Tournament. And it does also have, like, in addition to being like, okay, so it's like a 3D style kind of, it's kind of like Talkin, hence the Pokken, Tekken. It's kind of, you know, similar names and stuff like that in such ways. It's similar to that in the fact that it is it's a 3D game, and you fight in a little battle arena with your Pokemon versus their Pokemon. And there's a pretty decent cast in it, like Gengar, Machamp, Gardevoir, Pikachu, who else? Suicune. There's some others. Those are the ones that I saw most commonly. A lot of people like Machamp, by the way. Machamp's pretty popular. Pretty popular. So it's kind of Tekken style, in that it's a 3D fighting game environment. But it's got its own kind of merits where you level up your Pokemon and stuff, and it generally matches you with people with similar level Pokemon, so no real worries about accidentally, you know, pitting a level 1 Pikachu against a level 100 Machamp or anything like that, as that would be a little unfair. And overall, the systems are very good in it. It's responsive. The flow is nice, and the combos are pretty clean and overall very good. This is coming from someone who's bad at fighting games, though, so... I mean, I can't put as much insight into this as someone that's, like, really good at fighting games or anything. But looks really good. Some of the minor problems I might think it has, though, is that it's kind of bursty. Like, damage is done fast and hard overall, which kind of makes sense. I mean, if you've ever done Pokemon battles, damage is usually done pretty fast and pretty hard, even with the tankier Pokemon who have more health available to them and defenses and whatnot. Ow. So, damage is done pretty fast, which is sometimes problematic, sometimes not. Usually not too bad of an issue, because all of the Pokemon can do damage relatively quickly, so it's not that much of a... not a huge problem. You, come here. So, I love doing that. I love the ha 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 ha. So if you like Pokemon and you like fighting games, check out Pokken. Alright, the other problem I was going to say, before I get off of that topic, is that the animations for some things seem a little bit long for certain things, but not by too much. A little long, tiny bit flashy, but it's not to the point where it's like game-breaking. Like, the most recent JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game has a big problem with that, where in order to add the stylized JoJo feel to everything and all that, they have really long custom animations for stuff, and that's super duper cool. But it interrupts the flow of the gameplay and the flow of the match a lot, and that's no bueno for most fighting game aficionados and whatnot. Most people that like fighting games like their games to flow really well and not be interrupted by stuff like that, even if it's cool as fuck. So overall, they're pretty positive reviews for Pokken from most people so far. And including me. I like Pokken. Looks good. I'm not sure how long it'll stick or how long it'll last, though, but hey, anything can happen. After all, Smash Bros. Melee is still going on, and... But then again, that's such a good game. Melee is the best Smash Bros. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a casual fan or a super professional. You know it's true. You know that Melee's the best. It's got the best everything. Oh. Huh. I thought he was still gonna live. I cannot hit the ground very well. This character class is not very good for it. One more thing I'd like to say about fighting games is I saw the recent Street Fighter V tournament, And like I said, I'm not good at fighting games. I'm bad. I'm like terrible. But while I am terrible at fighting games, while I am awful at them, I really like watching them, and I like seeing people that are good at them play them, because it looks really cool. And I wish I could do that, but I can't. It's not in my body to play fighting games well, which is unfortunate. And anyway, the Street Fighter V tournament was pretty sick. A lot of very good players came out and played, and there were some really good matches despite the game only being out for a very short period of time. There were some people that really seemed like they knew, like it was almost as if they had been playing the game for like a year or something leading up to this, and they've only had like what, a few weeks to a month before it. So that's impressive as all hell. Like right off the bat, that's you gotta give some props for people who are able to adapt to a new game so quickly like that. Now, obviously, this does it does still hold a lot of the same gameplay principles as like previous Street Fighters and stuff. You know, you still have your Shoryuken input and your Hadouken inputs and whatnot like that. But still, you know, you still gotta learn like the timing of all the new the timing and lead up of all the new combos and everything like that. So yeah, for people to be able to just pick up a new fighting game like that so quick, huge, just mad props to them. Like I'm in awe of some of the skill that I saw. And I gotta say, in Street Fighter V, while I'm not personally playing it, Karin is the best character, period. Favorite character. If all it came down to was best laugh in the game, she'd win by like 30,000 miles, and that's all it comes down to for me. She also seems like a really good character. Like a fair number of people were playing her and doing pretty darn well. She seems like a fairly good character overall, and she has the wonderful laugh. The oh ho 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 ho. I love that laugh. That is like my favorite laugh in all of like anime tropes and stuff. Is the rich girl oh ho 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 laugh. She's like looking down upon those filthy peasants and just laughing at them. So yeah, Street Fighter V looks like it looks like a very good game to get into if you're relatively new to fighting games too. It seems pretty, from everyone that's talked about it. Apparently, all of the inputs are relatively easy to do. Most of the combos and timings aren't like insanely difficult. And overall, it looks like one of the best like newbie-friendly fighting games in a super long time. Because most fighting games have come out in like past years, because fighting games were like, they were super huge, and then they died off for a while, and then they came back. And the problem with when they came back is when they came back in like the style like, all right, fighting games are back. You guys remember how to play everything, right? Or you guys have played them before, right? And for people that didn't play them before, they were kind of screwed a little bit, because for the people that didn't play them before, there were no real fighting games with like super good, like here's where you learn the fundamentals, here's where you learn the build up to playing the game. You're going to learn your footsies, you're going to learn your spacing, you're going to learn basic timings and some basic inputs. There were no real fighting games like that. when new stuff was coming out. It was just like a continuation of what had been going on before, but kind of ignoring the... What was it? It was like a 10-year gap from fighting game popularity, where just there was nothing for like nearly a decade, and then out of nowhere it just kind of exploded back onto the scene again. And Street Fighter V kind of fills the gap of needing a kind of beginner tutorial style game, while at the same time it has some good depth to it. So pretty much I watch a lot of streams and I check out like people's opinions and stuff. Pretty much any fighting game streamer, like a professional fighting game player, stuff like that, says Street Fighter V is a great game. Probably one of the first ones they'd recommend to someone if they wanted to learn how to play fighting games. So if you guys out there want to play any fighting games, like right now seems like a good time to jump into fighting games, because Street Fighter V, very new player friendly, very helpful for it, and Pokken Tournament has is Pokemon fighting game, which is so cool, which is just plain cool. So, and seems like it's a bit more casual friendly than some other fighting games out there. So overall, it seems like a pretty good time to hop into fighting games if you guys have ever had any interest in that kind of thing. I mean, if you like PvP and DFO, you probably like fighting games. It's pretty similar. So, you know, that's pretty much what I would recommend. I'd say go get Street Fighter V, play some fighting games, go punch some people, throw some Shoryukens out there. But not Hadokens. Real men Dragon Punch. Only women hide behind their fireballs. Which is like the opposite. Like only male characters get fireballs. Females aren't allowed to shoot fire from their hands. They have to get up and punch people to death. Which is which is weird. I find that really interesting. I believe the majority of characters with fireballs in the history of fighting games generally are male. Huh. Never really thought about that before. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, you go throw some Shoryukens at people. Go play Hot-Blooded Ken, whose new outfit is freaking on point. Like Ken's pretty sexy. Sexy Ken. Hot Ken. Also, you can get Bearded Ryu, which is also pretty good. So yeah. Fighting games. Go play fighting games! Even if that fighting game is DFO, just go play fighting games, you know? Fighting games for all. Ha ha ha.